Welcome to Adam's Friday Flow with entrepreneurs. Today's topic is going to be team organizing. The reason that I want to do team organizing is because the big thing that gets us going at business is, or at job satisfaction is enjoying the team. It's just one of the things that makes or breaks whether you enjoy your business or your job or whatever. And so one of the ways I got into this was through a book called 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. And like when I first read that, I'm like, well, that's a negative way of looking at it, but it's a great book. I think.
The only way.
What's that?
The only way to look at it.
Oh, this coming from one of our solopreneurs. That's great. So, which actually leads it good into the next thing. So I'll talk more about that book if it comes up. But how do you identify and keep your team? And Miriam is my business coach. And one of the things she talked about was how to, get people on board, even if you're a solopreneur like her and myself, how to get people on board that'll help you with parts that you just, don't need to do and someone else can do. So that's part of finding a team. The other part might be, because Lisa, in your case, you have at least one other person as part of your company, right?
Yes.
So, how do you identify if you're going to bring people in or keep those that you have or keep them?
You're basically looking for my trade secrets on how to hire is what we're getting at here.
Yes, it's great. So that's the topic. Anyway, so now we're going to do intros real quick. So your name, what you do for who, and paste it in the business chat. Okay, paste your stuff in the chat. And if you want any links to link right away, you do the HTTP stuff. And so I'm Adam Sparks Brechtel, and I'm gonna post my stuff in there in a moment when I'm not talking. But I've got as you both know, Sparks Flow is my company. And what I do is I innovate businesses so that they can create better systems to perpetuate what they want to do and enjoy the things they enjoy doing. And one of those things is building up the interactions within the group. So that's the big topic I'm hoping to talk about today. Miriam.
Hi. Miriam Ortiz-Pino with More Than Organized. I'm certified professional organizer, simplicity expert, and money business breakthrough coach.
Wait, what was that last part? It kind of was like, you said it quickly.
Money business breakthrough coach.
Oh, cool. I like it. Thanks.
Yeah, so I'm putting my link in now.
Great. Oh, I gotta do mine too. Lisa.
So my company is Proficient Financial Management. We actually do tax, bookkeeping, payroll, outsourced accounting departments, basically all of the accounting and compliance and strategic financial analysis, budgeting that any small to mid-sized business might need. We work with privately held companies. And although I'm new to Albuquerque, my business has been running for 12 years in Texas. So we do know what we're doing. We're just new here.
That's great. Yeah. So this book that I've got, and I'm going to see if I can look it up real quick here. So the book is called 10 Dysfunctions, and five. So he's got numerous versions of this book, and one of them is even a cartoon version, like manga, which I did actually read just because I was more curious. The first one I read was actually not the fable. So he's got a version that's the fable. It's like a story thing, and I'm sure it's okay. I haven't read it. And then there's like a guide for people who actually want to give lead retreats or do stuff with team, building team. And that was what I'd read first, and it really was inspiring to me. So, but the idea is it's this system of is there trust is the big thing, and then fear of conflict is another thing that holds you back, which actually is kind of cool because something I didn't realize when I chose my name is it really for my business is that it has a really neat connection to that. Because fear of confrontation is one of the things that holds people back from actually becoming the best business they can because of the interactions they make within that team. And so the reason I find that really cool is because sparks fly is actually a term for talking about arguing, which I didn't know. I thought it was like something like, oh, great things are happening and sparks are flying. But no, sparks are flying means that you're arguing a lot. So sparks flow is sort of a play on that, which I thought was like, oh, it's great stuff. And it turns out I'm actually talking slightly about arguing, but that's good. So because if you're having confrontation, that means you're trying to be your best. So absence of trust is a dysfunction, fear of conflict, lack of commitment, avoidance of accountability, which goes back to this conflict thing. And if you're not really committing to the team, you're not really going to have much conflict. Or this is kind of what they're saying. So conflict isn't necessarily bad, and just as long as you're not being argumentative for its own sake. And then inattention to results, which is kind of what I talked about a while ago when I talked about measuring your flow. It's like, well, if I'm trying to like make this happen, how am I going to actually measure that sort of result? But that's kind of what that's about. Yeah, this is not it either. Huh.
Type in, it's got to be with his name, I think, to get.
Yeah, I think you're right. So, yeah, it's got a podcast. Anyway, so that's that. That's the random book that it was random to me a while ago. I mean, I was part of a team at the time, living and working in a homeless shelter. And there were some major problems happening with the organization at the time. The previous, my mentor had died and left me in control to a certain extent, because we also had a board that I eventually heard from. And and we were getting a new director in, and so I could go and live my life elsewhere. But that was a neat book at that time. But it was really made me excited about being able to help other people with that. And I would have enjoyed actually doing this kind of retreat. So this is something kind of near and dear to my heart, this kind of stuff. But the other angle is, like I mentioned, Miriam, you'd mentioned that me building up my team or the people that support my business is an important thing too. And so what's your view of team and the importance?
It totally depends on what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
So once it gets to the point where you are spending time that you could be doing things that you're great at, to do all the little details, you should hire out.
Yeah.
But you should do it strategically. So it took me years to kind of figure out what the right mix is. So I tried a lot of people that I thought could help me do all the stuff with one person, but that would be hiring another me. And so it took a while to figure out I needed to piece it out. So now I have my accountant, and I have my SEO person, and I have my graphic designer, and I have a virtual assistant, and they all work to various levels, either on demand or a certain number of hours per month. But they're all their own businesses. So I get to help them grow their own thing while getting the support I need. And I am now really hire slow, fire fast. But I'm careful at kind of making sure there's a lot that can be overcome when people aren't up to speed on some of the stuff they need to do, but the attitude is what's hard to adjust. So you have to start with, what are they all about? What kind of worker are they? What lights them up? and then you can put them into the right place, or just say you're not a great fit. I've also interviewed 3 different people for the Facebook internship thing that I applied for, and
4.
the one that was a great fit took a different company. So then I interviewed the other 3. One of them was delightful, but not at all interested in the work I was gonna need done. And so I'm like, dude, you're not a great fit for me. I'm sad. Call me if you need me.
Yeah.
And the other 2 then didn't even show up for their interviews. So it's like, it's always interesting, but I don't let it mean anything anymore, and I'm not responsible for them. But if I had offered that guy that didn't want to do that kind of work a job, he would have been miserable for the next 4 months. And I don't want that responsibility either. So.
Oh, it was one of the Facebook people. Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm big on hiring people that can fill gaps in what you can't do, but also that can deal with your management style.
Yeah.
Your work style, at least.
Yeah, that's important. Oh, yeah, because you mentioned when I was a teacher, one of the comments I'd gotten was something like the effect of like, well, the things that you have are the things we can't teach that we really want. Which was a compliment, because that was and then so the potential was that I become like get these other skills that I'm assuming I lacked, and I found that weren't a really good match with the type of stuff going on at the school. So that was interesting to know too. It's like, even though I had like the attitude and personality and stuff that apparently they thought was great with the students and with other people, the style thing you mentioned was a big thing. Because like if my styles just really aren't working, then eventually what wears down. So.
Yeah, when I was in management at an actual company before I ran my own thing, I used to make employees cry all the time.
Good job.
But being straightforward, not even mean, but like, hey, was this your thing? Did you do this? You know what I mean? Like, why is everyone so sensitive? Like, either you did this or you didn't do it. It's not like I'm going to send you to jail. I'm asking you to help me understand what happened, not so I can fix it. Not like, it was the weirdest thing. People were so sensitive. And the last virtual assistant I had wouldn't speak up, even though in the interview, she told me she was perfectly fine speaking up if I was upsetting her or she needed clarification or anything like that. I'm just like, just tell me. I'll rephrase. We'll figure it out. She's like, oh, I have no problem doing that. And then she didn't do it. And she was upset with me for like 3 months before I found out.
That's horrible. See, lack of conflict. So Lisa, what about your team?
What about my team?
Yeah, what do you got? How did you find your team? What did you build on there? And probably you can talk about things you like. You don't have to talk about things you don't like. You don't have to talk about anything.
So obviously hiring external people who support our company is a very different thing because they're generally their own companies and what have you. And they're just doing things like our IT or our web design, things like that. They're just maintaining those things for us. And it's a very different process than hiring people who are actually, going to be working internally. That's very difficult because of what we do.
Yeah. You're dealing with other people's finances, a big thing of trust.
Well, not just that, but since we do their taxes, we actually have all the information we could ever possibly need. We have the keys to the kingdom, literally, socials, dates of birth, all of that. It's just par for the course in accounting. So hiring internally is incredibly difficult because we can't just put an ad out there, like on Craigslist or Facebook or something like that.
That's a good point.
I mean, we could, but since we're a remote company, we, you know, there's not, and which actually brings us to another issue because we are a remote company. So my industry is kind of notorious for being a sweatshop. You know, it really is. The industry is hugely notorious for this. And we're not, my business partner and I aren't like that. We both got our start working at Intuit, which is a software company.
Yeah.
So we came up on the software side of the industry, which is super, it's super relaxed compared to the firm side, which is a real sweatshop. So we struggle when we have put out ads. Our biggest struggle is honestly finding people who will fit the company culture and who can work remotely and not, because it's such a micromanaging industry and I don't have time for that. I'm not a babysitter. So finding people who fit our company culture is actually a significant struggle. And most of the people who work for us, therefore, end up being people who I've worked with throughout my career.
Yeah.
Or they're related to me. You know, it's not that we don't ever have people. One of my most favorite bookkeepers ever was somebody we found on a Craigslist ad. But she really had the personality for our company, and she was fabulous at what she did, had excellent references, background check came clean, you know, all of that. So I'm not saying it can never happen, but hiring in my industry can be incredibly tricky in a virtual environment where we don't have time clocks or anything like that, because I run a very loose, when you see the ad and it says make your own hours, like I seriously mean it. We don't even have 4 hours at the company.
Yeah.
So I have people who are working in the middle of the night because they're night owls. And then some of my people are like emailing me at 5 a.m. and they know I'm not even, they know I'm not even awake. But that's when they're working.
For a few hours.
Yeah. So yeah, I would say, you know, and I think that's a challenge for any company, but it can be, and even, you know, finding people who fit with your culture. But it can be an even bigger challenge when you're kind of counterculture in the industry that you work in. So if you're in a particularly laid back industry, but you run a particularly formal company, it would probably be the same kind of issues that you run into where people don't really fit into the culture. And that we've started to see is the most important thing, is people who fit into our culture are our lifers. Yeah. Unfortunately, sometimes literally. So like they've worked here until they've died, unfortunately.
That's what I thought you meant, but I was like, should I ask that question?
Yeah, we've actually had people who've worked here that we were their last job. We were the last 10 years of their life. But no, so yeah, when somebody fits the company culture, I think that, and even with my clients, I see that too. If they have employees who aren't a good fit for the culture, it doesn't really matter how skilled they are. It doesn't, and I have companies where there are only 1 or 2 employees in the office. And then I have some companies where there are 50 plus employees in the office. And it doesn't really matter how big or how small. I mean, it makes a greater impact if somebody's not fitting in well in a smaller company, just because it's more noticeable because you're all right there. And there's Bob, who, you know, clips his toenails at his desk or, you know, whatever.
Okay.
But no matter what size your company is, unless you're like a multinational company or, if somebody's not a good fit for the culture, it's not going to matter how skilled they are. So that's actually what we look for more than anything beyond basic competency in accounting.
Reminds me that it's not, but that kind of not good fit for the culture is not the same thing as that conflict avoidance piece, Adam.
Oh, yeah.
Because that is creative tension.
Mhm.
It produces great breakthroughs. This is psychological tension where it's just not a good fit and it's a distraction and a hindrance to other people getting their work done as well.
Yeah.
So it's not about conflict avoidance, like everybody has to be the same so that everybody, it's about, does their piece of the puzzle fit into the culture of the company?
Right. Yeah. Because our people are totally different. I have people who are like former military, and I have people who wouldn't touch the military with a 10-foot pole.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's definitely not the same backgrounds at all. But yeah, they all find something that resonates with them within our company culture. And for a lot of them, it's not being told what to do anymore.
Right.
That's great. Yeah. So, wow. So creative tension as opposed from like, actually looking for ways to make things better by arguing about stuff, as opposed to like, wait, I think it should be done this way. And just like, or just, it doesn't really jive somehow.
I mean, we still have conversations, because one thing that we always do is whenever we're making a change that's, driven by us and not, the IRS or the boards of taxation or what have you, when we're making changes, when my business partner and I are making changes that we want to be making, or when it's just me, because hell, I'm the managing partner, sometimes I just make unilateral decisions. But when we're making major decisions about how the company is going to change, when we're rolling that out to the team, we also tell them why we're doing it, to get their buy-in on that. And that also leads to them being able to come back to us and say, okay, well, I see why you're doing this, but this is causing these other problems in my workflow, or what have you. So it allows us to have more open communication about the changes that we make, that we have control over the alteration of. Like I said, the taxing authorities and things like that, we can't, if they want to change, we can't do anything about that. But if it's an internal change and our people understand why we're asking them to make that change, then we found that they're actually a lot more likely to come back to us if that change is causing issues.
An interesting thing too is Pat, and I haven't read this book in a long time, but Pat mentioned in his book that with the conflict thing is sometimes if people just are able to voice their opinion, then they're happy to go with whatever you say.
They just want to feel heard.
Yeah. So it's like, with you're talking about like, well, the Internal Revenue Service has already told us this is the way it's going to be. And they're like, well, blah, 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 and then just do it. It's like.
Well, our people, of course, having accounting backgrounds, they know there are things that we, they're just like, fine, whatever. It is what it is. If it's a taxing, if it's something that we have no control over, if it's a government thing, then they're just like, all right. I mean, we may complain about it internally about, our personal opinions on the matter, but there's obviously not going to be a lot of pushback or anything like that.
So I'm curious, because I'm reflecting on my time teaching and thinking like, it took 2 years for the principal, and she was a great principal. I think, and they're a great team. They're wonderful people to work with. But she she kind of finally said, all right, I think we're gonna have to let you go and let you, move on to another school or something. And at that point, I already realized that I really wanted to work with people who wanted to become entrepreneurs, like people that wanted to do something, as opposed to, kids that I appreciated, but just like I was trying to do something different with the classroom than what was trying to be done. And I'm just wondering how long, because Miriam also mentioned that there's certain things that you can teach people. And how long do you wait until that teaching happens and can tell that's the difference between this cultural thing or just something you gotta learn?
Oh, I think part of it is just experience.
Yeah.
But there's also, we talked a lot about having your policies and procedures in place, and all of the stuff that's in a policy and procedure manual or action training, like here's the workflow of what you need to do. All of that stuff is trainable.
Yeah.
Except with a very small number of people that are just unwilling to do things the way you want them done, which is actually an attitude thing. Like they're too independent thinker to ever do it the way you need it done for consistency and customer service and meeting your clients' expectations or whatever. So but that's basically what I mean. Like, can you teach someone to run the drive-through at McDonald's with a checklist? Yes. Yeah. Can you teach them to be the favorite person that works at your local McDonald's? No. It's that, I don't know if you guys saw it, there was an article running around the interwebs last week on you can't teach someone how to care. You can't teach someone how to care about other people. So those are the kinds of things that are more innate personality traits of people and their own personal style traits that are what's way more important in the interview process. I mean, obviously you want someone that knows some accounting. They need to know how to balance some books, or at least be able to be taught that fairly quickly. But, and different levels have different skill sets. But yeah, I think you just have to learn to ask the questions that reveal, because people don't do a lot of self-reflection on themselves. So if you ask them, so what's your work style? They're not going to tell you, or they're going to use all the buzzwords that get them the job. But if you say, tell me what your favorite work project or the favorite project you ever worked on was and why, or what was your least favorite, what they say will reveal where their own problems are without them even knowing. And it'll reveal what their own strengths are too.
Yeah.
That's so, when I asked the kid the other day, well, tell me what you love about social media. And he was, it's great, da, da, da. And then I'm like, okay, well, tell me, since this is a Facebook internship, what do you love about Facebook? And he's like, I don't like Facebook. I'm like, oh, well, this internship was you're going to be my Facebook engagement specialist. So what are we going to do about that?
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I appreciate your honesty and I have a love-hate relationship with it as well, but I'm actually looking for someone to run my Facebook page and group. So
yeah,
this might be an issue. And he's like, I can see that. But the other one I was like, I don't know if I understand this kid. Like, he's kind of all over the place with here and there. And then I asked him what his favorite project was. And it was, they told me what they wanted to achieve and they let me do it. And I'm like, you're my guy. But then he went with someone else that could offer him a full-time job on the other end. So it's, but if I had just said, tell me your strengths, it would have been, well, I'm competent at social media and I've run this campaign and that campaign, like I wouldn't have gotten that. Someone let me do my own thing and I'm great at it. I would not have gotten that answer. So that's what I meant by skills versus attitude and their work style.
Yeah, we never ask them what their favorite part of accounting is, because the joke is always the drinking.
Right.
That's the joke answer. Yeah. Yeah.
You can ask them what their favorite work experience was, or what their favorite, least favorite work situation was?
You know, I mean, we can kind of glean that from the resume and see, you know, what other firms they've worked at before. Some firms have an industry reputation, even in, you know, not just the big firms, like in the local communities, there are some firms that you're just like, wow, yeah, okay, we know, we know that company and we know you hated it there. Like, you don't even have to tell us.
Yeah, but it might be worth exploring. Like, I'm not trying to tell you that's not true at all, because but it might be interesting to see why they left, to see if they noticed that. You know, what if they were one of the people that really loved that kind of work environment and they got fired for something else, or they left because of something else, and then you would not be a good fit. So
we actually ask the questions in a different way. Like everything else, our interviews aren't even really that standard. But we definitely, you know, have them talk to us about, without the formalized questions, you know, it's like, okay, well, you know, we have them tell, you know, kind of walk us through their resume, and usually the way that they talk about their jobs, each job, what they did there, it gives us a really good idea of which jobs they liked, which jobs they didn't. Because, you know, even in accounting, I mean, like I said, you know, the drinking is the joke answer. But some people really like doing certain functions of accounting. And so you can tell because they'll get really excited about the jobs where that was a larger part of what they did.
Right.
And so that kind of helps us figure out, and also too, that can help us figure out if they're going to be a good fit for working at a company where they have to design their own workflow for the most part, and where they have to figure out their own schedule, and that kind of thing. And, you know, some people just cannot do that. But, you know, skills up to a point, some skills are teachable, some skills require college.
But science, like, where's the art of it versus the actual?
So yeah, so once they have like the basic, you know, once they have the basics down, a lot of it really is just about figuring out how they're going to fit into the company. And if they don't have certain skills, like, we actually promote all of our account managers from within. So bookkeepers and tax preparers become account managers. You have to have technical skill to become an account manager, but let's be honest, one of the perks of being an accountant or a tax preparer or bookkeeper around here is that you don't have to talk to the clients. You know, it's only the account managers who talk to the clients. So some of our people aren't really great at people skills, at selling, at building relationships, but that's more of a teachable skill. I mean, I know it seems kind of counterintuitive, like, yeah, you can teach somebody accounting, and you can, but teaching somebody to sell the way that we sell, or teaching somebody to manage accounts the way we want them managed. Because we actually tried in the beginning to hire people who had sales experience in other industries to do this. And
I want to hear more. I want to hear more about that, but I'm going to pause you for a moment, Lisa, so we can say hi to Opeyemi.
Hi.
Hi. Yeah, I'm Opeyemi. And I have a web company called Maiel Technology. Yeah, we design websites for local businesses and try to optimize the websites to reach out to more customers. So yeah, that's what I do.
God bless you. Thank you, Opeyemi. That's great. And if you'd also post that information on the chat, I'm gonna. Is it okay, gals, if I repost your stuff? I copied the whole thing. I'm gonna post it again, and so you can reach out to these gals too. So they're on there as well for you. But yeah, so Opeyemi, what we're talking about is team organizing and like, what it is, how do we organize our teams and like, what creates that. So I'm gonna come back to what Lisa was talking about with, needing to train what she can and can't train, what experiences she's had with that. But have you had much experience? Do you have a team that you have under you or that you work with?
I work with, but
Yeah.
yeah. Let me just say, like, it's me and my partner. We are the CEO of the company, but we have two other people that we are managing as well. But we all see ourselves as partners, equal partners. But yeah, and I'm still learning how to organize and yeah, have good workflow. So that's what we're trying to figure out right now since we just started. And
Great.
I had a little bit of experience during the boot camp, in deep dive coding boot camp. So I was managing a team as well. So yeah, I have a little experience in that, but I'm still yet to do that in the real world. So yeah.
Cool. Well, feel free to jump in the conversation. It's informal. The other thing is go ahead and put your information on the chat so that this is live on YouTube right now, and then when I edit it later, I'll put all that information on the bottom of YouTube.
Okay.
Great. Thanks for joining us, Opeyemi.
My pleasure.
All right. So Lisa, you were talking about with your team and how you'd had some experiences with something with the training. You can start there or you can go somewhere else.
Oh, no, all I was saying is that, I think we all learn that there are some things we can hire people who already have experience. So there are certain skills, basically. You can hire people who already have that experience. We hired salespeople who had never worked in accounting, and that was a disaster. And sales is not really something that there's a lot of in accounting. So that's why we kind of had to build that up ourselves. But I think in every company, we, and I see this with my clients as well, there are things that they learn that their baseline, the baseline of skills that they have to have and what they can teach and what they can't. And that's just going to vary from company to company, what each company's value proposition is, how each company communicates their brand, all of that is going to play into what they figure out is the baseline of skills for their company that you have to come in with and what they can teach. If that makes sense.
Yeah. So now I'm also getting like a lot of interest about like how the structure of your company goes, but that's so I'm opening up this other page to like start trying to draw it out and see like, is this how you're organized? Because I did not expect your business to be organized that way when I've been talking to you. I thought it was like you and this partner and that was it.
Well, I mean, the minions do their job.
Miriam.
No, we call them the minions, but they we have names for each other. I told you it's very relaxed. No, I mean, obviously I can't do this all by myself. We've been doing this for 12 years. There's no way I could do everything by myself. And if I tried, I'd be at least a month behind, if not more. But please don't try to make an org chart because that's just gonna make your head spin even more.
Like this stuff. This is what I enjoy. But okay, I'll give it a break for a moment. How much do you think organization charts? Oh, you're muted. How much do you think organization charts help, Miriam?
A lot. I think when like Lisa mentioned, the why you're doing something and where it fits into the puzzle, and starting with roles and responsibilities that are for the work, not the individual.
Yeah.
Easier to hire because you're looking for someone that fits a more contained set of skills.
Yeah.
And yet, you know where they're going to slot in and what they could move up to based on the interview in the first place. And it helps everybody know what their role is. When you know you're the bookkeeper and you're crunching numbers all day, balancing things, bringing up the questions, that's all you got to worry about. If you're the account manager, you got to know how to interpret that and know some of the IRS stuff and then be able to talk to the customer about both. So it helps everybody know where they fit in the puzzle. Who's the manager? Who's the floor manager? Who's doing the work today? Who's in charge of marketing? Who's, you know, like all that stuff just helps people know who to go to when they need help with someone. It helps them do their work within their own boundaries, and it helps them notice where there's crossover or overlap. So those are not the same thing, but if they're doing the same thing someone else is doing, they can point out, hey, I could take that off the plate and then we can take it out of that job, or vice versa. That can help too overall. But it helps people know where they can expand and where they need to stay in their lane. So it makes things easier.
All right. So if I were to do one for, this is, I enjoy this. I always try to get some sort of drawing in if I can, but also because I just love visuals. This is trying to like, I don't know anything yet. I've got to find a good sort of format for trying to do this stuff. You know, I see you laughing, Mr. Opeyemi.
I was gonna
I've also
ask.
got background. What?
I was gonna ask Miriam if she had a sample charts.
Oh, chart. Yeah. I'm making one right now for
me.
Miriam. So solopreneur, as you can see, my writing is going to be great here. Solopreneur. Oh, I always spell
E-U-R.
I always misspell this, and I'm always typing, you know, oh, Friday Flow for entrepreneurs, and I kind of have to switch it around like almost every time. Ugh.
Okay.
So
you perfectly, you know that you need 5 lines for me because there's 5 essential business systems.
Oh, look at you. Nice. Okay, those are not really well spaced, but okay.
No. And number 1 is deliverables, and that is me. I'm the only one that can do that. I am the only one that can do the stuff for the client. Then there's the money.
Okay. So deliverables. Oh, blast. Yeah. Yeah. So so you're doing that, and so your money person is going to be
my accountant, who then also has a bookkeeper who is the one that contacts me once a month and reminds me to input the stuff that they need or upload the stuff they need that they don't have direct access to. And that's not even because I don't want them to have access to it, but my bank is a smaller local bank and they keep disconnecting us for an upgrade in security. And so almost every month we're having to reconnect everything. But we'll fix that. So that's me. And then the money is the accountant and the bookkeeper. Marketing is, I am the marketing manager and strategist. My graphic designer and my SEO person and my website person all are part of the marketing department. And they have to work together. Inventory is all me for right now. Although the virtual assistant is starting to do some of the inventory stuff. What's my other one? Deliverables, money, marketing.
I know, I do the same thing.
People.
They're important, right?
I think I'm in different orders and then I get mixed up. People is a lot is me and my clients. The virtual assistant does some of the client management aspects, or will be soon, the stuff that she isn't currently doing. We're putting together so she can do it. So it leaves me doing all the strategy stuff and the actual delivering of the service. and all the other people do the 20 plus hours a week of the background stuff.
Okay. So, and this is is this a copyrighted system or anything like that? Because this is your thing, this 5 system thing.
Yeah, actually, it's is it?
Trademark?
No, it's not. I mean, I have a supplemental trademark on my signature solution that includes this, but technically it's not, but no one else can copyright it either. I mean, it's copyrighted, but not trademarked. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's confusing legal situation.
Yeah. No, legal situations are important because that's that's a big part of our.
Yeah, and I might have an example of an org chart I can share. I'm trying to think if I used to. I haven't used it in a while, so really I just use mind mapping software and I do it. And I actually like a tree chart best.
There's so many mind mapping charts out there.
Yeah.
But, okay, so this is Miriam showing her version of like how to break up your business into different things. And then she has, I'm gonna get some lines here. And I probably won't put names on this, but the idea, scribble. Okay, fine. All right, so you are here and your money person is here. So you have one person here. And then you have, for people, you do that too, right?
Yeah, hang on, I'm gonna go do something real quick. I will be right back. It's gonna make this easier, but
I like it, great. Okay, and then marketing, I think she said 2 people, and then inventory, I don't know what's going on there. But so if I were to talk to, so we're not gonna do Lisa's because she says it's crazy, but I still probably will, like just to figure it out for myself. But Opeyemi, you have 2 people in your business, and do you have the same roles or do you have different roles?
We have similar roles, like everybody is a designer, a website designer, but we have somebody who's we have 2 people reaching out to potential clients, trying to get some, so that's marketing. And I'm supposed to be doing that as well, but I'm not really good at marketing. I'd rather just network and get to know people than just cold calling and sending emails. So we have 2 people who are doing that and having the social media, handling the social media.
So you're saying, Opeyemi, because you got cut out there a little bit, is you both are designers. So you're both doing the deliverables, right? Yes. And then you are more the marketing.
I'm supposed to market. We 2 people are supposed to handle the marketing, but we are I can't really do marketing, so I make one person do the marketing, and I think I also have somebody doing the social media marketing as well. So we actually have 2 people do the marketing. And
look at this. Okay, so let me see if I can.
People.
We're gonna make this pin the vid. No, I don't want to pin.
Oh, okay.
So I could take a picture and share it. I don't have a whiteboard on mine where I would do it. But basically it's like the company, me, the departments.
Yeah.
And then the number of people that need to fill the roles for that department.
That's great.
So some of them are the same person in a couple places, like me and my virtual assistant. But then some are super individual, like a couple of the people, my lawyer and my coach and my website person and marketing, they have very specific roles, but I'm overseeing all of it. Does that help?
Yes, that's cool. That's nice. As opposed to my this nonsense. But I'm having fun. So Opeyemi, you and then your partner, did you want to give their name or?
We are Tolu. We have actually 4. Tolu.
Oh, Tolu is part of you.
Yeah, he's part of Tolu. Yeah.
You guys are partners, and you say there's 4 of you. So 4 partners?
Yes, 4 partners. But it's Tolu and I who started it. Who started the company? But we got other. We brought on other people who could help.
Uh-huh.
Yes. So, and we are the main developers for the company, and then we have two other people who are designers and marketing. So they're going to help us source clients. So that's their role for now.
That's good. Well, cool. And on that, so we got short on time here to wrap up. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap things up with the end of stuff here, and in a presenter mode. And you brought up something that kind of, because the next talk, I might go back to lead generation. But before I talk about that, I want to mention other events going on. Every Wednesday is 1 Million Cups, which everybody here knows well. Opeyemi, have you come to 1 Million Cups?
Yes, I think it was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, 2 weeks ago, yes.
Okay, yeah. I thought I saw you there. And then Activate New Mexico, which I saw you at last week.
Yeah.
Has got this new thing on Wednesdays, Startup Retool series. And has like going to be 8 in this series. And then on July 17th, Women in Tech is something that I heard Eric tell me at 1 Million Cups. So I threw that on here. And so I can post those.
I don't know if that's the right date, Eric. I mean, Adam.
Yeah, let me check. I will bring it up on.
I feel like the 17th is the Arrowhead NMSU. We mind your business. We mind our business. The Women Entrepreneurs Business virtual training event thing.
We mean business.
Yeah, that one.
There we go. So that's happening. And
like a super cool event, and I wish I could go, but I already have 2 things scheduled that day that conflict.
So those are events that are happening. And this is not the right title there, obviously. Next week, I did the 4th of July, I did lead generation styles on the 3rd. And no one else showed up. So I was like, I already got a little bit ready for that. So I talk about the next time. And lead generations, I guess, applies to everyone in this group of like, how you build leads and that sort of thing. So I hope you enjoy, come and join us for that. So keep creating return on people's investments in you and in yourself, and joyfully organize daily business. So thank you everybody for joining me, and have a great week. Keep the sparks flowing.
Oh yeah, sure.
All right. Nice to meet y'all.
Bye, y'all.